Will I get people butthurt with this video? Quite possibly. Will I get the tards pissed off at me? Yes. Will I get the fanboys mad at me? Maybe. Don't know. Will I get the people who know me glad I did this? Absolutely. Absolutely. If you know me, if you converse with me, you'll know exactly why I'm putting out this video, and you will enjoy it. Guarantee that. Because what am I talking about? How Naruto should have been written. How Naruto should have been written. Now, there's a few different elements when to deal with this. Okay. First of all, let me start off by dealing with the history, and then I will deal with two different scenarios. First, with Uchiha Madara being the protagonist, or Uchiha Sasuke being the protagonist. And there's key points to why I'm doing this. Number one, three key points. Number one, let me get this out the way as I continually say until it gets into people's heads. I have people that think apparently my name's been going around the community. What? This dope moi? This young blood in the game. Even though I'm not that young in the game, in this YouTube game, you know, in the community, I'm low ranked. Yo, my subscriber count's not that far up. Not that all that matters, but still, I'm not, you know, I do have over 300 videos now. I'm not bragging, it's just what it is. You know, I make video, you know, I'm not in the mouths of a lot of people, or so it seems. Apparently, my name's got around, and dudes got me twisted. They think I'm a hater of Naruto. I don't hate Naruto. Okay? Let me repeat that. I do not hate Naruto. How can you hate something? Truly hate something. When you hate something, it's just an anathema to you. You stay away from it. Period. You don't even associate, it doesn't come to your mind. Okay? How can I hate something when I watch videos of reviewers? When I talk about it, have no problem talking about it. When I'm critical of it. My three favorite, look, I enjoy the concepts and character designs of Naruto. Except for Naruto himself. That orange jumpsuit, I've talked about this a lot of times. To ad nauseum, you could say. Just no. Okay. The concept of the world. I thoroughly enjoy what Kishimoto's created. You know, from the chakra to just the world itself. I like it. Some of the themes I do like. Some of the themes I'm not too keen on. But, you know, that's personal preference. There are only 3 characters in Naruto that I like. Gaara, Rock Lee, and Uchiha Madara. At some point I'll probably, along with other videos, make, you know, talking about my favorite characters. But to this point, just know that I like those characters, okay? Each all for different reasons. And here's the thing. I'm just highly critical of Kishimoto's bad writing. Poor execution. And it's a damn shame. It's truly a shame. When the fact is, the potential in Naruto, the potential of the characters, it's the freaking shinobi world. Think about it like this. One Piece. People, Sawyer 7 Mage made a video, and I know this is seemingly deviating, but I gotta bring the context into play. Sawyer 7 Mage, shout out to Sawyer. He puts in mad work. If you never checked out Sawyer, which is a surprise if you're part of this community, please go check out Sawyer. 4th favorite reviewer. Anyways, Sawyer, he talked about ninjas versus pirates. How it's, you know, that'll determine your favorite. Not true. Although I always loved pirates when, you know, for different reasons when I was a kid. Even more now. Ninjas have always been my thing. Ninjas, they're assassins, yo. You just shout. There's mythology around them. Pirates have less mythology around them. Ninjas, like, we don't know jack pretty much about the Japanese, you know, how they really turn the tides of war and different things. We don't know. They're just cool design. It's all in black. Just this, you know. Then there's a whole connection with the samurai. These were former samurai. Just that whole thing. Ninjutsu is, ninjutsu. Not ninjutsu. Ninjutsu is a legitimate fighting style. You understand what I'm saying? So like, there's a whole lot of things surrounding it. So normally I would love the ninja. You get that? One Piece is just a far superior story. Naruto is a story. It doesn't absolutely suck, but it could be boatloads better. Look, man, if you're not biased, you know the facts of the matter. The characterization is times, character development is highly lacking in pretty much every character. Even though Naruto and Sasuke get junked, they still don't get character development. Let me not talk about Gar, Rock Lee, and much of the supporting guys. Uchiha Madara, you know, his character development, there's still so much. The Sage of Six Paths, we don't know pretty much jack about him. It's just kind of stuff pisses me off. Then you have dog on the plot holes. There's no such plot holes. Let the story finish. You know, that's not how it works. You write rules, you write logic. If you're gonna retcon, it's very hard to retcon properly. That's the problem with DC. Marvel deals with retconning, but it's not as bad. DC's retconning sucks, okay? It sucks for a lot of reasons. There was only a few times, like with Hawkman, for example, retconning was good. Superman's been retconned so many times it's pathetic. You understand? Just understanding that. Retconning's bad. Recontinue, you understand, is bad for the most part. And then, you know, those are the main thing. It just the poor execution, man. It's like makes no sense. Defying logic. No, let me stop. But other reasons as to why I do this. Because I come from a literary perspective. You see what I'm saying? I come from a literary perspective. And I've said this, and I'm not joking. People know I'm not joking when I say this. It's not just a shot fired at Kishimoto. I could have written a better story. I could have written Naruto a better story. Kishimoto should have written it a better story. Period. Like, you don't have to be a perfect. Oh, but he's a hardworking mangaka. He's a hardworking mangaka. I don't care. Quality is quality. I only deal with high quality. Period. Period. Now, I do give him credit when the credit's due. Uchiha Madara is greatness. God going off right now is greatness. Where was more of this? Where was more of this? Where is Gaara going off? Where's Hashirama going off? Where's Tobirama going off? Where's Hiruzen going off? Minato looks like a joke right now. Tsunadi's a joke. Sakura. Let us not even talk about Sakura. Rock Lee. The Rookie 9. I mean, come on, man. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And the third reason, it's just... I won't get people to see that, you know, to start understanding how I think. People claim, oh, I've seen your videos, so I know. No, you don't. No, you don't. Few people get me. Okay, very few people get me. If you talk with me long enough, very few people actually get me. I can only, even though I go into discussions and analysis on subjects like this, I only can share part of who I am. I'm a complex person. It's not bragging, that's just who I am. I'm a complex person. I won't go into it on this video because it's said enough. Now, to the actual thing. First and foremost, before I go into the Sage of Six Paths, Naruto, first of all, the character of Naruto shouldn't even be in Naruto. He shouldn't. Not, at least not as he is now. The character of Naruto, not saying he had to be all this mature person, whatever, another, but he should be more mature. He should be a side to a secondary character, depending on his level of maturity. Depending on his level of skill. As I was reminded, he only knows wind style. How is he this powerful with only knowing one jutsu? Look at Madara. 8 jutsus, I believe, at this point. Even Obito, you know, you had Hashirama. You got guys with 5 jutsus and whatnot. Orochimaru can rock house. One style. I mean, the power levels are screwed up. Look at Monkey D. Luffy. Is he anywhere near the top tier of his world? No. Golden Freaks? Even Killer Zodic along with Golden Freaks? No, they're not. Okay? Toriko? Debatable, but probably not. Goku, different story. He wasn't for a while still. But, no. Well, actually, no, I can throw Goku because Goku, it wasn't until later in Z, like the last third of the actual Dragon Ball story. So yeah, I can rock with that. Aladdin or Alibaba, are they? No, they're not. You understand what I'm saying? So, yo, it makes no sense. You can say, well, fun art still makes no sense. The way it's been done, it doesn't make sense. Okay, Naruto, no. This character, just screw that. No, screw that. Protagonist, hell no. Especially main protagonist. Get that out of here. Get that out of here. Secondly, it should be a dark shonen or a seinen. And what do I mean by dark shonen? I mean series like Hunter x Hunter, like Attack on Titan, aka Shingeki no Kyojin. How One Piece apparently is starting to head. What's another dark shonen? Oh, the Baki series, okay? Any of the Baki trilogy of the series, you understand what I'm saying? Stuff like that, that's dark shonen. Where the darker just tone, the atmosphere, you feel me? All that. The execution. You can get bloody and stuff, really bloody. Toriko is borderline. It stays a shonen battle manga because it focuses a lot in comedy. And that's the thing with One Piece does, it focuses a lot in comedy. Magi, it gets political, it focuses with, or not so much focuses with comedy, but it doesn't go as dark as it could. It gets dark, but it doesn't go as dark as it could. So it's the only thing that separates them. Now, seinen, if you don't know what seinen is, that's, 18 to 30-year-old. It's on some more grown man status kind of stuff. 18 to 30-year-old young man kind of stuff. Okay, appeals to that, like a Berserk, like Holy Land. You know what I'm saying? Them kind of series where it's rough, man. It's rough. What else needs to be said? Pretty much that's it. That's the kind of dark shonen they're saying. That's what Naruto, if we're gonna call it that, should have been. Should have gone by a different title, but regardless, I'll use that for now, for reference. Now, to the Sage of Six Paths flashback. This could have been done in multiple ways. 3 different ways, actually. Number 1, we could have started off the story with the Sage of Six Paths. Or at least his legend. Well, no, we could have started off with the whole explanation and then go from there. Number 2, not necessarily the best technique, but number 2. Number 2, we could have started off with the legend. Kind of sort of how One Piece started off with Goldie Roger. Remember that. Goldie Roger, there's a man, all this, and then we go from there. You could start off with that. You could start off with a legend, and then we get flashbacks along the way, that filled in when we need it. Or we could get a whole flashback arc like Magi the Labyrinth of Magic is doing currently with the Alma Toron arc. Okay? There is ways you could do it. What Kishimoto did now? Oh, hell no. It's terrible. We have no explanation of the motivations of the Sage's mother. We don't understand the Sage. He apparently has 2 sons and a brother. We don't know about any of these characters. That's screwed up. We should have got all this information a long time ago. And it brings into the point of why probably the best option, or it's debatable about the best option, why Uchiha Madara should have been the protagonist of the story. Period. Look at it. Madara is the best character so far, besides possibly Gaara, that we've seen. And why do I say that? Differing ideology. His goals is still not even fully understood. No, they're not. He's a powerhouse. He is primary to the plot. Like, let's see. There's 3 characters. The Sage, Naruto, and Madara. Those are the 3 primary characters at this point in the story. All the other ones are extensions. You can say, well, what about Sasuke and Ender? No, screw that. The 3 important characters, because of what the Sage did, with his poor judgment, Naruto is the protagonist, and Madara is the antagonist. Madara is not a villain. Understand this. Madara, his relationship with Hashirama, his relationship with Tobirama, his relationship, you understand what I'm saying? You feel me? We only got a little bit. Madara, backstory. It should have dealt with the war, okay? Madara growing up and doing this and then plotting. I wouldn't have done it this way. How I would have written it? I would have written, okay, probably Konoha getting destroyed. That's how I would have done it. Konoha getting destroyed. Madara becoming more or less in exile from the villages. The villages fearing this dude, so this dude is banned. This dude goes off, okay? He becomes more or less an urban legend kind of jazz. This dude is dangerous. They want to kill him, but they're too afraid kind of thing. So this dude, okay, this dude's just a threat. And he returns. and he realizes that the shinobi world is the cause of the pain in the world. I'm just kind of paraphrasing kind of jazz. And he comes in the wreck house. Then you get the final clash with Hashirama. He kills Hashirama, but not without suffering some fatal things. Okay, you could say he takes Hashirama DNA, if you want to go that route or whatever. He survives, you know, and then he goes off by himself. Then you could continue the story from there. You know, maybe you have a time, the time skip for the later generations kind of things. Kind of have that. And then Madara playing important roles as the story progresses. I'm just giving off the top of my head, just a way to introduce Madara. Like his childhood, his thing, kind of sort of deal. See him as the progenitor, his manipulation of people, possibly. See him starting organizations. See him being a political powerhouse outside of the other politics. Because I'll get to the other politics when I did with Sasuke. Okay? So all this jazz. Now, and also, if you have a threat outside, that would actually unite the other villages and a lot of the other clans. Madara would thus, because of his antagonism towards the system, the culture, the lifestyles, the society of the shinobi world, and at least in that region, and I'll get more into that as well, he would unite the clans. Because you have an enemy, you have a real threat. And infighting, that's not going, you understand? Infighting doesn't help you. You feel me? I would get much more political. Now I said I might mention this. Okay? There's greatly missed opportunities that Kishimoto has not dealt with. He never dealt with much of the history of the Naruto world. I mean, the fact that he even introduces this is just a thread that's never going to get tied up. Okay? Loose end. When he talks about the world was already at war before the sage's mother kind of ate the fruit. That whole story is BS. I'm sorry, I don't buy it. I'm not buying it. Yeah, the world was at war, but you just can't introduce something like that and not give an explanation. Like, no. The sage, I already mentioned it. With Madara, with, these different ones. The doggone Naruto world. Look, all we know about is the 5 villages, but they're within a nation. What about the nations? What about the politics of the nations, okay? What about, for example, going to the land of iron, where the samurai are at? Why are the samurai so powerful? Why is it that, I remember, at least in the anime, it talked about, what was it? It was the Raikage talking about samurais. This is a fight between us shinobi, right? This doesn't concern you. Y'all will get screwed over. Well, if you have these powerhouses in the shinobi world, why are they not taking over? How, for example, are the samurai? It's not just numbers. What makes the samurai so powerful? You understand? Where's the politics at a greater extent? The shinobi world. Why aren't the shinobis assigned as assassins? Hired as assassins or part of different ones? What about shinobi clans across the globe? You understand what I'm saying? Why are we stuck in one part of the Naruto world? Like, there's so much he could have expanded on. Especially if you're gonna go this long. If you're gonna go this long in the anime, start doing what doggone One Piece, Magi the Labyrinth of Magic, Toriko. You need world building. The world building in Naruto has suffered greatly. Suffered with a bunch of nonsense and filler and all. It's in canon filler. The Obito struggle, we need to take that out. Either make Obito a loyal servant or don't even have him there. It's retarded. We need more. We need more. I could go into so much as to what Naruto missed out upon. But y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all know the series. I don't have to go in. Okay? You'll say, oh, it's so beautiful. It's not beautifully written. There's so much more that Kishimoto, and it's frustrating for me. Like I said, I come from a literary perspective. I've watched and read so much fiction, and the possibilities that Kishimoto laid out before us. It's like a steak that smells so beautiful, but you can't touch it. It's like it's this rare diamond you see, and it catches your eye. You might want to give it as an engagement ring or a wedding ring or something, but it's too outside your price range. For your wife, she'll love it. The woman that you love, she'll love it. You know what I'm saying? The fact of, it's game 7 of the World Series of the NBA Finals. You know, it's the World Cup final. It's a game you want to see, and freaking no, you're not late because you get locked up that night or something. You get incarcerated, you know, arrested for on some BS charge. That's the kind of stuff that Kishimoto has done in this. Unbelievable. Now with Sasuke, and it's debatable, the Madara setup. Now, there's pros and cons to each of this. Now with the Sasuke being the protagonist, this would be more fun to write. Not necessarily a better story, but more fun to write. Okay? And here's what I say. First of all, I would still do the clan. Not the kind of whole nonsense with the Kurapika kind of relation. No. Not that jazz. But the clan getting mad. Like, I would do a introduction of the world kind of thing. Okay? You could still hint at the sage. And like I say, go along the way and explain. But the Uchiha, or you could start off with the Quiet Night. The Uchiha clan gets massacred. Then you have a motivation, and then Sasuke, we build with Sasuke's character. You meet characters along the way. You know, he's trying to cope in a village where his clan, he's the last survivor of his clan, right? So he's got to go through in his struggles, okay, the internal development, the characterization. He comes in clashes with I didn't even think about this, but the three characters where there are his Naruto, like I said, his side character, secondary, I'm not even worried about him. Neji would be the least, okay? It would be Rock Lee. Rock Lee would be antagonistic. He would be the main one because Rock Lee would represent the whole hard work aspect, the whole taijutsu, the whole his ethics. You understand what I'm saying? Then you have Gar, cold-blooded killer. So Sasuke would be sort of kind of in the middle between the two. Then you have Neji. Neji, I just thought about this, would actually play beautifully because you have a whole dude. Sasuke's trying to defy some kind of fate. He's trying to rewrite history, and Neji would be like resigned to kind of fate kind of thing. And plus you would have 3 different fighters. So this would be a beautiful setup. And how we would do, yes, we would follow Sasuke. Yes, Sasuke would do some stuff he would do, and then he would just start murking fools, and he would become an exile from the clan. And eventually he would come in contact with Madara, but that's way down the line. That's way down the line. Anyways, what would happen is, criminal or one of two ways could happen. He leaves, he comes back and he kind of does his rogue thing, and the villagers are coming after him, right? But you have a dude, maybe Madara gets introduced, and he comes and saves Sasuke, and you come under my wing, and you can become my protege kind of thing. It's kind of how sort of different, but sort of how if you watch Teen Titans, the cartoon back about the mid 2000s, 06 or so, where he's not Deathstroke, he's Slade tries to take Robin as his apprentice kind of thing. I want you to take, because Madara's getting old by this point, I want you to take over, my, as leader, or Sasuke would have to fight himself, because it'd be a whole organization, you feel me? He would have to fight. But alongside the way, we follow Rock Lee. Rock Lee, he finds out more about the politics of the shinobi war as he ages, and Rock Lee's fed up. He goes and starts to travel. Okay, he starts to travel, for example, and he starts, the training. He battles along the way. Oh my goodness, Rock Lee just throwing hands. He fights, and he becomes a fighting master. He becomes a fighting genius. You understand? A sensei in his own right. You understand? He's like, God Sensei, I love you, dear, but I gotta go. I gotta find the world on my own. Tell me that wouldn't be, developing Rock Lee into this monster, an absolute monster. You understand? And maybe to the point of where the 8 gates, instead of it being the gates of death, he surpasses his sensei and he's able to control that. Kind of how, the whole Super Saiyan controlling thing. I think that would just be beautiful. Then you have the whole thing about Gaara. Gaara, I would have him as cold-blooded and ruthless. I would have character development, but Gaara would go through struggles. He would definitely travel. He would be the main one that goes throughout. Like, they would go through. So there'd be, although Sasuke would be the main character, these would be like just as important. Okay, kind of how in One Piece you have, or different series, like just as important. Attack on Titan. Even though Aaron's the protagonist, you have Mikasa and Armin just right there. I want Gar, Rock Lee, and possibly Neji. Neji would be the least important of it. But you have Gar going off different adventures. He just gets in the fights himself. Instead of like Rock Lee, because they would be rivals. All of them would be rivals. Well, sort of, kind of. Gar and Rock Lee are the antithesis of each other. That's what I would hold. I would hold what was done in the Shonen Exam antithesis. These two represent something completely different ideologically. Sasuke's kind of a rival of both, but he's in the middle of both. So both of them clash with Sasuke, but they don't have a long-standing beef with Sasuke. It's kind of a mutual respect. Neji's more with the Sasuke situation because Neji will be with Konoha, you understand, or the village, whatever. Anyways, Gar goes off, and we follow him in his assassin mode as he develops, and he develops in his character. He meets people. Maybe he meets still a sort of kind of Naruto character, and he kind of vibes, and Naruto kind of journeys, and we meet, and with Gaara, he'll be the main one, because I would split this up into sections, the Sasuke section, the Rock Lee section, the Gaara section, and then the Neji bit section, and then with Gaara, we could travel with him. He would be the main one, the world travel. He would travel across the way. He would be more of the world traveler. While Rock Lee would be more involved with training, Gaara would be, traveling. He would pick things up along the way. Now with Neji though, Neji would be interesting. I would use Neji more as the historical thing, with the sage, with the mod, and all of this, in the fate. And Neji, how would I use Neji? I'm not exactly sure because I would have to really sit down and think about this, how I would use Neji. I would use Neji as, explaining why the village was set up the way it did. Neji is a product, he has to deal with this. It's almost like a slavery kind of thing. And Neji and Sasuke, they have a fun about because they're like, look, Neji, we're going to give you, you're going to be able to do what you like. You understand? Of the Hyuga clan. In the name of the Hyuga clan, you would, bump them up as a clan. You feel what I'm saying? Like, get them as the prestige. Become the leading clan in Konoha. Neji, you go take him out. He's your peer. You go take him out. You understand? Because they hear reports that Sasuke's traveling. Alone. He's in training or something. On some Vegeta stats or something like that. So Neji, you go take him out, or it's set up one way or another. They set up a clash between Neji and Sasuke, and Sasuke is like, "Yo, Neji, you and I, we started off on different foots because, Neji thinks he's raised for the clan. For the village, and Sasuke's raised for the clan, and they find out that they're actually on the same side. And instead of fighting each other, they clash at first." But then they turn, and Neji and him, they start doing it. They become a dangerous duo. And Madara is off in the village, and we learn increasing amounts about Madara. Neji learns more from Madara about what happened and whatnot. And and he trains Neji to use his Byakugan. So Neji, becomes more powerful. And so Sasuke and him become a danger to the villages. And that leads to some things. While in the meantime, Gaara returns. And at this point, while Gaara, not Gaara returns, Rock Lee returns. And at this point, when Rock Lee returns to where the village is at, he's been hearing things. Not in the area. He returns to areas as like a, he's older, he's a hooded, they don't recognize him. He's like just on some, I don't know, just that wanderer kind of thing. And he hears about this duo. He goes to find Madara, and it turns out that Madara was the one who trained God Sensei. So Madara, like I said, got them strings pulled. So he goes and he talks with Madara, and he's like, "Yeah, Madara, I'll help you out. Only one condition: you find and set up." Because he said, I've surpassed my sensei, my master. I'll help you out. I'll help you, alongside, and I'll work together with Sasuke and Neji, as long as you set up this battle with Gaara. Because then we find out that at that point that Gaara killed Rock Lee's parents. So Sensei took him as an adoptive father, God, right? My God. And so Madara's like, okay. Madara has his own plans. Of course he wants Gaara on his side. Of course. So what'll happen is he's like, alright, I'll set this up. But when I do, under one condition, listen to what the young man has to say. And Rock Lee's like, I've matured. Because by this time, they're in their mid to late 20s. I mean, yeah, mid to late 20s. Well, all of them different ages. Okay? Rock Lee will be the oldest. No, actually, Gaara will be the oldest. Then Rock Lee. Then Sasuke. Then Sasuke and Neji will be about the same age. And then, so Madara, he showed, you know, we cut back to Gaara and we find out more about Gaara. Gaara's been traveling the world. He's still traveling the world. One stormy night, you know, Gaara gets attacked, and he's just mastered his win with the sand, and he's learned a few other, you know, he's become, you know, he's mastered, you could say, to a degree, all 5 of the jutsus, all 5 of the normal jutsus. But he's no match for this dude. And he's like, yo, this is unbelievable. I can't, you know, nobody's ever tested me like this. And he's like, and then someone reaches a hand. He's like, do you want power? Because Gaara's gotten beat down. Do you want real power? And then it turns out to be Madara. And Madara brings him back. And he's like, you under one condition. You have to face the disciple of my disciple. And we find out, but then there would be the question of why it would be explained as to why Guy is the kind of, Madara's like, he allowed Guy to do, because Madara doesn't want to use somebody who's not willing. So Guy kind of didn't vibe totally with Madara's ideology, and Madara's like, that's okay. That's okay. I understand. Because Guy was taken out of a situation of war. Okay? And also, Madara's like, he makes, you know, we find out along the way that this is after, of course, the confrontation. Well, no, during the one. After the confrontation, and Gaara and Rock Lee come to a mutual understanding. They're like, yeah, we'll drop the beef. If it's been too long, you know, we both grown, we both matured, and they joined the Sasuke, you know, Neji alliance kind of thing there. And they're under Madara. They become Madara's like commanders, generals kind of thing, and Madara's the main dude. And of course we shift focus, and eventually I will bring back in the Sage of Six Paths, okay? And I mean, actually, to be honest with you, I could use this all in one story. Who would be the main protagonist? You could say Madara, I don't know, but yeah, I possibly would combine this all into one story. I don't know, it'd be crazy, but I do this. But anyways, we find out about Guy. Guy was a kid of war, way back from another land. He comes to Konoha because of a woman he actually loved. She was from the village, and he had hard, but he gets the trust of him, and blah 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 and stuff like that. You know, he had a good relationship with Rock Lee's folks. Rock Lee's folks get massacred, and we find out during the clash between Rock Lee and Gaara. Gaara explains what happened. He's saying, I had to. I was assigned to by the Kazekage. Okay? Well, actually by my grandfather, who actually, you know, at the same time killed his father, who was the Kazekage. And Gaara's like, I didn't know what to do. I had to follow orders for survival. And so by this point, you know, they let, you know, Madara at this point starts going, killing, you know, Sasuke in the group. They go, Sasuke and his 3 folk, they go and kill the Kazekage. And at that point, it's starting to get ugly. And so you have Madara's forces, and then we learn that they're about 15 deep, okay? With, I say about 20 deep. With the main force is the leaders, so they have about 4 under them. But you got the soldiers, and the soldiers, you know, they fight hard, and so we go with that. We got this small army versus the shinobi world. But what we find out is this is only sort of in the beginning, just because they go into this war. We find out that Madara is in connections with dudes from across the way, okay, like out east, to the north, to the south, to the west. So he's got clans, you understand? There's connections. And like I said, throughout this time we learn the politics. And so Madara comes, and his organization, they come and wreck shop. You know, Sasuke's become legendary, Neji, you know, to less degree, Gar and Rock Lee, they're all, you know, legendary. And so now the nations, the bigger nations, have a problem, and they're like, you know, they come together. Well, first of all, the Fire Nation, where they're at, gets the offer, and they offer Madara. They like, look, we know y'all are powerful. Come to our side, okay? You come to our side, we promise protection. Because Madara is no stupid dude. He understands war, he understands analysis, but he knows that his group, his organization, cannot go toe to toe against all of the nations. Because there'll be about, what, 8-10 nations? Yeah, I'll make about 10 nations. I'll make about 10 nations. And he's like, alright, we'll do what we need to do. But if you try to cross us, we will bring this nation down. And which actually will happen. And then from there, it gets very political. Very political. And to one point, the sage enters the scene, okay? After this long, because they, you know, a war will erupt, you know, because the instability is going on. A war will erupt between two of the most powerful nations. One small military might, another large, just a lot of people, very populous. They will be fighting. A land filled with resources versus a military one. They need it. Their people, you know, not. They have this mindset, you know, it's war culture, but at the same time, they need the resources for their people. So the sage will show up on the scene, and we'll have this where the sage talks to Madara, and Madara's like, "What are you doing alive?" And then the sage explains, "I've been watching over all of this. I've been watching them. I've been watching these young men. Madara, what is it that you actually want?" This point, we'll start getting more of emotional backstory after the point of where Hashirama and him clash, and why Madara did what he, you know, we thought we knew, but why he really did what he did. And also, Madara did kill Tobirama, by the way. And we get a flashback to find out that Tobirama and him, well, he didn't kill him. He almost killed Tobirama, but Madara let him live, because Madara's like, if I kill you now, my ideology will be corrupted. And the sage listens, and he's like, And he talks about, you know, Tobirama's flaws and what he led to, the foolishness. And the sage is like, it's time to put an end to all of this. Madara, I will help you. 2 conditions. You make sure these young men control themselves. And number 2, if I help you, you end this blood feud, you end this war. And so the sage comes to the side, and Madara and them get involved as a third party, and they end up ending the war. And when the dust settles, the sage comes and he talks to the leaders, the generals, and everybody, in the Naruto, or in this world, right? And he's like, what you all do not understand is that there's something greater at play. Okay? There are forces at play that want this world destroyed for their own gain. If you follow into that realm, you know, that if you create that state of chaos, you will unleash some very dark powers. And from there, the sage things, and then the story shifts to possibly more of a supernatural element towards it. But from there, I'm you know, this video is going long. From there, I would switch the focus towards the supernatural. So the sage, you know, he's more of a spiritual mentor and guide, into where, you know, now and at this point, of course, Guy, he reluctantly, because they asked him in, you know, this war, they reluctantly asked Guy to join, and Guy would join them, and so, you know, it becomes this situation where they're now fighting. The Sage is one of the you could say 5 lords of power, and the Sage, he resides over more of the lightning aspect. Then you have the fire, the wind, you know, different ones. Although he's skilled, you know, he's mastered all of them, just like Madara. He resides over more of the jutsus, and so it's not a god situation, but these dudes reside over the different elements, and we go from there, to where Madara and his forces have to help the Sage and combating the fire, you know, the different forces, because they're now fire and what we got, fire, water, earth, wind. The fire and wind are trying to take over the earth and water. Earth is just too old, and the water is too young. So the Sage, he needed help. You know, he's powerful, but they have their own forces, and so we go from there. How it would end? People, you know, Guy's dying. Neji, unfortunately, he gotta go. He's gotta die. Let's see. Madara, I love Madara. Madara would have to die because he would sacrifice for Sasuke, Gaara, and Rock Lee, and these 3, you know, they would take. Sasuke, of course, would take it the hardest. Gaara, he would actually take the lead now. He and Rock Lee, you know, Rock Lee. Well, he would be fighting with Guy, and Guy would die, and Rock Lee would have to finish off the dude. Rock Lee would take that super hard. So now you got 2 guys down, and Gaara rises up, and he shows what the world traveling and world experience. So Gaara now takes the lead, and he tells the Sage, he's like, yo, Sage, there's only one chance we're coming out of this. Teach me. Make me full power, okay? So that I can lift these 2 ones up to where they need to be. I know I can't surpass them, but, well, I'll also say this, Genjutsu, that will be Neji. Neji will be the phenomenal Genjutsu user, by the way. Just had to throw that out there. And Gaara, you know, he becomes power and he leads, and so Sasuke and Rock Lee are like, yeah. They get, you know, the fighting spirit or whatever, and so they challenge and they duke it out, them 2, and they clash with Gaara, and in that they learn, you know, they unlock their potential and they rise above, you know, him. So it actually becomes a 3-way battle, and then in this they become training, and you got the Sage smiling. He's like, yeah, because this will be like a 5-day clash, a couple day clash, like 2 days, and then he's like, enough, rest, now it's time, you 3, because Madara's organization is pretty much done now at this point. You know, the clans, the different ones, they're pretty much done, and he's like, it's time, you 3, you're ready, let's go. And then so they go off, and they go challenge, and they take down the two you know, lords, and so and in the process, you know, the Sage that dealt with the earth, he dies, obviously, because of his old age. The Fire Lord was killed. The Wind, he's like, he concedes defeat. He surrenders. He's like, yo, alright, enough is enough. I ain't trying to go out like him. I ain't stupid. We had something going on, but it's all good. And then so the water, you know, so now sort of kind of Gaara and Sasuke kind of take over the two spots. Sasuke takes over fire. Gaara actually takes over earth. Okay. And Rock Lee is left as kind of sort of he still remains as a wanderer. And his taijutsu, he's on some other level kind of jazz. You feel me? So these are my thoughts. I know it's a long bloody video, okay, and if you watch this to the end, Much love. It's not as long as some of my other ones, but still, these are my thoughts of how I would write the story of Naruto. And actually, I set off as the two different protagonists, but now I actually started melding as I went on. Most of this was just off because I had some basic ideas. This is just off my dome. What are your thoughts? How would you write the story of Naruto? Where do you say some of mine is right? Where do you say some of mine is wrong? But till next time, y'all. Beautiful day, beautiful night. Unexpected One is signing off. Peace.